afternoon, Easton, and welcome to the Rabbi's Roundtable. I'm Rabbi Peter Hyman, Rabbi at Temple B'nai Israel, and we are coming to you this week, not from the basement of the Avalon Theater, but from the second floor of the Avalon Theater, and it's a real roundtable. And I'm delighted to have as my guest Derek White. Derek is the new executive director for the YMCA in Easton. Derek, welcome to the Rabbi's Roundtable. Glad you're here. Glad you're in Easton. And before we talk about the why and your programs and your vision, tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you get here.
Sure. Well, I am a husband to my wife Rachel, who works with the Talbot Mentor Program. We have two young children, Madeline and Gabriel, both under the age of 2. I moved from North Carolina. I worked in the YMCA of Greater Charlotte for 10 years prior to moving here last March, and have been working with the YMCA of Chesapeake for 10 months in Denton prior to my start here in Easton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're very glad you're here. As you know, because we've talked off camera, I have real affection for the Y for a lot of reasons. It was very welcoming to me when I first came, and it's still welcoming to me. I find it to be a real important component of the Eastern community. Everybody that I know works out there. Not that that's a criterion for anything, but I think the Y plays an important part in our societal fabric. So tell us a little bit, now that you are on board and you have been up and running for a while, about your vision. Where do you want to go with the Y? What do you see our Y doing, and how it's going to impact the community?
Sure. I think that's the key word is community. When I first moved here, before people knowing that I was affiliated with the YMCA, one of the first things that was suggested was, you need to go visit the YMCA. And so it's ingrained into this community already. And that's something that's very important to me, is that I am upholding those values that the YMCA of Chesapeake has set forth before me, and just building relationships with folks and strengthening the community. And so partnering with folks to just provide a better Talbot County for youth and families.
Talk a little bit about the programs that are available now, Strong Kids Campaign and those sorts of things.
Sure. Well, we'll start with the Strong Kids Campaign. People look at the YMCA and think gym, and we are that. We're a gym where people can come and work out and get healthy, but we are so much more than that, and do a lot of programs in the community that people aren't aware of. And the Strong Kids Campaign was a campaign that we ran successfully for many years, and are now transitioning into a campaign called the Strong Communities Campaign, going back to the key word. And the goal there is to raise funds for folks to attend the YMCA. We never want to turn someone away due to inability to pay, whether it's coming to the YMCA to work out or participating in a program. And we're able to do that. And so some of the programs that take advantage of that are our summer camps. We run summer camp, about 500 kids per week. After school programs, Hang Time program, which is a teen after school program that is free for teenagers. Camp Lazy Days, which is a camp that we run free of charge. We also partner with the school system to run a summer learning program, and those are all programs that are funded through the Strong Communities campaign.
Well, it's a great program. How have you found being here different than where you came from?
Well, on a personal level, the small town has been phenomenal for us. It has been great for raising our family. My wife's happy because I'm closer to home, and so that's great. And then she gets to take part in the YMCA as well, and has made a strong connection to a local moms group here. On a professional basis, the emphasis with Rabbi Gill, our CEO, on impact and living out our mission is something that is very exciting to me, because that's what I'm passionate about in our association as well. And it was important, as I was transitioning from another YMCA, to find an organization that felt the same, and I've found that here on the Eastern Shore.
I think, as I said, I think the Y does a remarkable job. Camp Lazy Days, the Strong Communities Campaign. Anything else we should be looking at in terms of programming coming down the road? interesting things, expanded things?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest things would be our summer camps that are registering in March. As I mentioned, we have a very large summer camp program, and that registration will start soon, which is exciting. We always have ongoing programs. So right now there's swim lessons, after school. We have soccer, indoor soccer taking place right now, and so it's always active at the Y and in the community. We utilize St. Peter and Paul to run some of our programs, and so really just building that community base is what we look to continue to do.
Well, I know that from my standpoint as a religious leader in the community, we're always looking for ways of integrating with and partnering with established institutions who can share messages and impact and influence a larger segment of the community. I know that's something that you want to do, and that's certainly something that I want to do. I do also want to say, this is personal, but it doesn't matter. There are a lot of people happy with the new locker rooms.
That's right. Yeah, that's. I'm glad you mentioned that. We do have brand new locker rooms that are our previous family locker rooms, and will stay that way. And it's been great.
You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
People are really happy.
People know that my relationship with the Y, and they said thank you. It's not they don't have to thank me. It wasn't me, but I'm just passing it on. Anything else you want to share with the community? Anything that you think is important for them to know? We are delighted that you are here. I'm glad that you're at the Roundtable, but I'm glad you're here in this capacity. I find this community to be remarkable and with great opportunity for growth and to impact not only the mission but the citizenry.
Yep. The things that I would end with is just letting folks know that we are a community partner, and so if they have organizations that want to partner with the Y, whether it's hosting a Bible study or renting one of our rooms, we welcome you. And the second would be that we are a civic organization and that relies on contributions from the public. And so I mentioned all those great programs. And so if anybody has a passion for giving back to the community that maybe doesn't already do so, then please reach out. And last of all is I always have an open door policy. And so I would love for people to come in and tour the YMCA or learn more about some of the programs that we run. And just I look forward to continuing to meet people around Talbot County.
Absolutely. Just so you know, you're not the first Y professional that has sat at the Rabbi's Roundtable. A number of people who report to you now have done this because, as I said, I think it's a hugely important program, a very successful program, one that I think the entire community takes pride in. So, Derek, thank you for joining me at the Rabbi's Roundtable. You'll come back as we have more to tell the community.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful for you having me. Thank you.
Talk to you later. We will be back. Easton.
Every Friday night feels like our first date. He buys the drinks, pulls out my chair. When the lights go down, something magic happens. Over 100 shows a year in the Stoltz listening room. Over 100 chances for a first date.
And we are back. And you are seated at the Rabbi's Roundtable, which is really round this week. And we happen to be not in the basement of the Avalon Theater, but we are up on the second floor, seated in the Stoltz listening room. And at the Roundtable, not a stranger to the Roundtable, may I add, is my colleague and friend, Bishop Joel Marcus Johnson.
Always good to be with you, Peter.
Always. Actually, we're going to change the mood and tone and the direction of our discussion. The occurrences of the last week in North Carolina have been stunningly horrifying at best.
At best.
And this comes, some of you know that right now there's an ongoing program at Temple B'nai Israel called the February Lecture Series, and we have been dealing with the question of the rise of anti-Semitism and our response. What occurred in North Carolina wasn't anti-Semitic, but it certainly was, to the feelings of many of us, a hate crime, and certainly some of us believe that it was directed at the American Muslim community. I want to spend a few minutes talking about this. want to talk about it with my colleague and friend, the bishop. And there's some points I think need to be addressed, aired, and articulated. So, Bishop.
I want to put a footnote on your statement when you said that this was not an anti-Semitic act that occurred down in North Carolina. Let us remember that these young people, they're Americans, of course, but their parents come from countries where, in fact, their parents are Semites, right, because Jews are not the only Semites.
Right, that's true.
So looking at it in this way, Jews and many Muslims, by geographical definition anyway, yeah, that's right, are Semites. And let us remember also that Jesus was a Semite. We're all in this together. And a crime committed against one of us is a crime committed against all of us.
Correct.
Yeah.
This is upsetting, and I do want to focus on the component that says they are Americans.
Absolutely.
The promise of America, if it applies to me and it applies to you, it has to apply to everybody across the board.
That's right.
And let's not forget that the girls were wearing headscarves. If I chose, I could wear a kippah, a head covering, a skull cap.
Sure.
Which I don't. I don't normally do that in my own practice, so I don't necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily do it in public anyway. But the point of the fact is that America makes promises to its citizenry, and these were citizens, and we have the great privilege of being in a society that has said, we acknowledge your uniqueness, we acknowledge what you hold important, and you are not, nor will you be penalized for that.
Absolutely.
And I'm reminded of President Washington's great statement, writing to the congregation in Newport, Rhode Island,
yeah,
where he said, "To bigotry we will lend no credence, and to prejudice we will give no assistance."
Absolutely, those are wise words.
And that was from President George Washington,
yes,
at the beginning of this nation. So I believe that we have some serious issues, and the serious issues cross borders, cross cultural borders,
absolutely,
cross subdivided cultural communities, which make the fabric of our nation.
I want to underscore what you have said and to add that this is not a problem strictly for Muslims, the event that happened this week. It is an event for all Americans. This is an American problem because, just as I said earlier, that when one religious faction is attacked, all of our religious factions are attacked. When these young people were murdered the other day, it was an assault on America. Right. Here we are, we're Americans grieving the loss of American kids. Very noble American kids, I might add. One of them having completed dental school. He was planning to conduct a dental mission into the Near East, and especially for those victims of the serious warfare going on over there who are now encamped in Turkey. This was a man who was willing to go to work as an American, helping other people in other lands. He would have been, practically speaking, an ambassador, a medical ambassador albeit, but nevertheless building the kind of friendship that America needs. And we've lost him. We've lost his bride. And her sister. His sister was on the television yesterday, and I was just so grief-stricken for this young lady having to go on television. She began to make an irony, which she was unable to complete just because of her emotions. She began saying, is it necessary to kill 3 persons for a parking spot? The irony that she was trying to express was from an old saying that it's only necessary to kill 1 person to get a parking spot. And that's the irony that she was trying to express, the taking of a human life, 3 human lives, for such a mediocre purpose.
Mediocre, it's beyond mediocre.
Yeah, well, it doesn't even really make the list.
It's really interesting. And the question that I wrestle with is, how do I make a difference in the world? Yeah. What can I do? I am aware that I am not going to change global realities. That's far beyond my pay grade. But the question nevertheless applies to each of us. What can we do? How do we make the world better? And last Wednesday night at Temple, my colleague and friend, Rabbi Steve Gutow,
Yeah.
spoke, and he said, and he talked in terms of Jewish communities and anti-Semitism, but his greater point, I think, was profound. You cannot just respond to the issues that impact you directly.
Right.
You have to go out, and if anti-Semitism is offensive to you, then so must be prejudice and anti-whatever it is, wherever you encounter it.
Absolutely.
And he quoted the famous passage from Rabbi Hillel, who said, "If I am only for myself, what am I? And but if I'm not for myself, who am I? And if not now, when?
When?
You got to do it now, and you can't depend on others to do it for you."
That's right. These kinds of events require immediacy and immediate attention on our part. And at this point, I would like to offer to the listening public that they have an opportunity to join with religious leaders such as you and me, and specifically next Thursday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. in Trinity Cathedral on Goldsboro Street in Easton. There will be an interfaith prayer service. And in this service, this is not going to be a political event. There's not even going to be a sermon. What there's going to be, there will be some chants, some hymns that will be sung. There will be some readings. There will be some prayers. But this is not going to be any kind of a political event. This is going to be an event in which we help America mourning the loss of her children, and also joining together to console each other in our grief, because this is, again, not strictly a Muslim defeat this week. It was a terrible carbuncle in the face for all people everywhere, but especially for this country. So I want to invite all of you to come on out to Trinity Cathedral this coming Thursday at 4:30 p.m. to share in this prayer service.
I would invite and encourage everybody to do that. I know that I'm going to ask members of the congregation, my congregation, to be present for this. I believe that we have to do two things. We have a burgeoning Muslim community here.
Right.
I think we need to make a statement about their legitimacy and their value as members of the fabric of our community, and I think we need to have an opportunity to come together as people of faith and make a statement that says we are not going to tolerate this.
Absolutely, yes. And let me frame that in a positive way, too. As you know, I'm President Emeritus of the Eastern Shore Area Health Education Center, and I really know the healthcare statistics for the Eastern Shore, and I can tell you that without our Muslim community here, the quality of care and the delivery of medical services would fall flat on its face. The Muslim presence on the Eastern Shore is very necessary to our health and welfare. So they're a very valuable part of our community, and this is why they are joining us in this prayer service. There will be Christians, Jews, and Muslims praying together. You know, oftentimes I've noticed that sometimes in our public events we tend to neutralize our prayers so as not to offend each other, and I think that what we can really do to help each other to understand each other's religion is to be a little more open about it. And this is where such events as have been held at Temple, say with the Thanksgiving service, at the Shabbat in the Park, which Temple and Tackle and the mosque sponsored together at the Oxford Community Park. These kinds of events are so valuable. Again, this event coming up on Thursday at 4:30 in the cathedral. You know, getting together, you know the old expression, the family that prays together stays together. So these events are very important.
I agree. Just one more reminder that on the Thursday, which is what's the date? Today doesn't matter. This coming Thursday, today is
You got me there.
Tim, what's the
13th.
Today's the 13th,
Right.
so
Next Thursday will be, some more days.
I went to rabbinical school because there was no math.
I thought it was the 19th.
The 19th,
Yeah.
Thursday the 19th
Right.
at Trinity Cathedral on Goldsboro Street, 4:30 in the afternoon. The community will gather for worship and to make a statement of solidarity with regard to who we are as a community, and not just about who we are, but who we want to be.
That's right. Yeah.
And if I'm a little agitated, you'll forgive me. I think we have a high horizon, and we have right to claim nobility.
I share your agitation, and I think nobility is exactly the word. I want you all at home to know the Talbot Association of Clergy and Laity, that is TACL, is in on this as well. So it's not just Peter and myself who are going about this. It's also Greg Powell, who's the Dean of the Cathedral. It's also Dr. Kamshe,
Dr.
President,
Gawad.
and Dr. Gawad from the Islamic Society. Indeed, it's the clergy, all of the clergy and laity of Talbot County who are behind this. Please come be with us. Let's be that family that prays
Join
and
us,
stays
please.
together.
It's important. You have been seated at the Rabbi's Roundtable, perhaps more agitatedly than normal, but I think the stakes are high.
For good reason.
I've been sitting with my friend Bishop Joel Marcus Johnson. I appreciate your time and your presence always. You'll be back. And Easton, we will be back next time at the Rabbi's Roundtable.
Peace be with you.